Seven Mansions Ghastly Smile is a game that screams hidden gem. A Dreamcast exclusive released only in Japan about exploring creepy mansions and solving puzzles. You need to manage your limited health and ammo as you battle horrific monsters. At any time, you can change between fixed camera angles, first-person, and third-person perspectives. There's files to read and mysterious characters to meet, all you need to scratch that classic survival horror itch. Despite the cancellation of the planned Western release, it's now fully playable in English thanks to the work of ArcaneAria and Mr. Nobody. So finally, after a few playthroughs, let's see if all those checked boxes add up to something special, or if these residences are a dilapidated mess. The original Japanese name is Nanatsu no Hikan Senritsu no Bishou, but it's been dubbed as Seven Mansions Ghastly Smile, so I'll just call it Seven Mansions. The game follows two university students, Kei and Reina, as they visit an island looking for the university professor and mentor who's seemingly disappeared. Seven Mansions is the sequel to the adventure game Nanatsu no Hikan on the Sega Saturn and PS1, but it's totally different. Not only is the genre now survival horror, but the only returning staff members seem to be the composer and two voice actors who voice totally different characters. The seven freely explorable mansions of the original game are gone in favor of one mansion and a collection of areas like a cloning lab and a research institute. There isn't really any connection to the original, which makes me think this was Koei's attempt to create their own franchise like Resident Evil or Silent Hill. But we know how that turned out. Development of Seven Mansions began on the Sega Saturn, but was later moved to the Dreamcast, and it's obvious. This looks like a Saturn game. The cutscenes are flat and grainy, the animation's robotic, and the controls are poor, with your character getting stuck on walls and objects. To make matters worse, Seven Mansions launched on January 20th, 2000, just a few weeks before Code Veronica, a game that really set the bar for how good next gen could look, with excellent lighting, facial animations, and particle effects, to name a few. Combat in Seven Mansions is clumsy and slow too, just look at that attack speed. And then you have to wait for the enemy to finish its long stun animation before you can damage it again. This is more frustrating when using a gun, because you can waste already precious ammo hitting an enemy that's still invulnerable. Aiming is also ambiguous, as the reticle appears as you shoot, and you'll likely miss your first shots. If I had to say one positive thing, it's that the combat kind of feels like a rhythm game. If you timed your attack with the enemy's screen properly, you could stun lock them to death. And just what are you fighting in this game? No, really, what is that supposed to be? Instead of zombies, you'll be facing down rippers, apparently made through human experimentation. They can be taken down quite easily with your melee weapons, so they aren't very threatening. You'll soon meet Seven Mansions' version of a liquor called the Volga. And it's pretty anticlimactic. I'll never forget the way the liquor was introduced in RE2. I guess I won't forget this one either, but for different reasons. Later, there's some cool enemies like the burned guy who'll occasionally shoot a red orb at you. The rest of the time, they just kinda shamble around in circles. And then there's this creepy eyeball plant. And this nightmarish floating baby face, which actually creeps me out. Enemies don't make a grand entrance either. Instead, they just kind of appear there, maybe with a breaking glass sound effect. You're joking, right? Look how Resident Evil 1 did it 4 years earlier. If combat isn't to your liking, here's where Seven Mansions really showed its ambition. There are two playable characters, each with their own distinct playstyle. You have Kei, who is more action-oriented, and Reina, who favors puzzles. While the story played out almost the same for me, the differences in gameplay were pronounced. When playing as Kei, you'll fight more boss battles and be able to use the shotgun. You can also make special bullets for different enemies, but I never bothered. Reina has a powerful laser pen that stuns bosses and does significantly more damage than the handgun or knife. Puzzles, on the other hand, are quite involved. For example, you have to find a memo, then get a tissue sample, and take it to analyze the DNA to make a genetic map and use a phone's dial pad to change the letters into numbers to get the password. Kay just finds the password scribbled on a piece of paper. If you thought the puzzles in Code Veronica were too difficult or obtuse, then don't forget to like and subscribe. Sorry, where was I? Oh yeah, you better stay away from this game. Regardless of which character you choose, the other one will tag along for most of your journey, and be prepared to get literally stabbed in the back, because yes, this game has friendly fire. Your partner will sometimes stand still, being completely useless until they find the perfect chance to shoot you. Or they'll stand still, dead-eyed, blocking you as you try to desperately flee a boss battle. You can give them limited commands, but as far as I know, they'll almost always be together. It can turn into a bit of a babysitting simulator. You'll also need to manage your partner's inventory too, which is a pain. You have to get in range of them and open the inventory, go to the trade option, send them the item, move to their inventory, and then item and heal. This wouldn't be so bad if the inventory button opened every time, but sometimes if you're too close to an object, you can't open the inventory. Get used to that sound. So boss battles can be a nightmare of dodging the enemy's attack, keeping your partner alive, and finding the perfect place to access both your inventories, all while avoiding friendly fire. Good luck. The benefit of keeping your partner around is that you can talk to them and they'll give you hints about where to go next, which is kind of helpful in this game. There's also a short co-op mode, which is impressive for the time, but convincing someone else to put up with this game is another thing. It switches seamlessly between fixed camera angles and first-person views when you separate, which works well. And if you really want more, there's a training mode with unlockable missions such as kill all enemies or collecting coins in a limited time. This was actually pretty fun. There's also a 2-player deathmatch, which ends after one death. The main draw, of course, is a single-player campaign, where you'll meet a small cast of characters as you work to uncover the mystery on New Russell Island. You'll soon have to save all of humanity from the Sublimiters, a new race of being that want to wipe all humans off the planet to stop them from destroying the environment. The story is anime as hell, and you'll learn all about meta-water, the Bodul virus, and of course a giant mech controlled by an unconscious woman's will created from DNA. It doesn't make much sense. Like, why did this character suddenly kidnap Reina to turn her into a sublimiter, and then minutes later they're thanking her? Is she a sublimiter? Why is she fighting this sublimiter? Why does she have Wesker eyes and force powers? None of this was clear on any of my playthroughs. The story was weird enough to keep me going through it, and there are some funny moments. I did enjoy exploring some of the areas, like the lab where the virus leaked. Since the virus is still present, you gotta wear protective suits. If you get attacked, the suit will tear and you'll become infected and start a side quest to find the antidote. Alternately, you can choose to remove the suit to squeeze through a door to get a key, but also expose yourself to the virus. Getting infected doesn't change the story all that much, but it does give us this absolutely horrifying cutscene.
Stagger. そんなにこれが欲しいか。致死率 100%、潜伏期間も短いぞ。
お願い、それをください。
今までのお前たちは私に何をした？よーく思い出してみろ。
ごめんなさい、許して。何でもします。その代わりにそれを。
塩らしいな。私の好きなサルサでも裸で踊るか？
わかった。いいわ。
本当だな。レイナ、こっちへおいで。
はい。
I think Kay's expression says it all. A note on the translations. The version I played was almost entirely in English, and they even provided an English voiceover for some of the audio sections.
Why did you come here? It's too dangerous. Please, hurry and escape.
なぜここに来たのですか？ここは危険です。早く逃げてください。
The team did an excellent job making this accessible to English speakers. Considering one puzzle, you need to check a Japanese hiragana chart. So if you're watching, thank you for your excellent work. On paper, Seven Mansions has all the right elements to be a hidden gem, but actually playing through it felt like a chore. This game is something I wanted to love. I even bought the disc. There are some good ideas here, but the execution is so sloppy and dated. There's a reason the Seven Mansions name isn't a well-known series today. The Dreamcast library is home to a number of unique survival horror experiences like Ill Bleed and D2, but sadly, Seven Mansions just doesn't measure up. This is a Japanese game, right? There, fix that for you. Thanks for watching. If you're feeling charitable, please consider subscribing. Thanks.